Hey there, Thick Thoughts. We have a very special announcement. We are now on Patreon. That's patreon.com/thickthoughts. If you don't know, Patreon is a platform in which if you want, you can pledge some sweet dollar bills to us every month and get lots of cool stuff in return. For instance, want a special episode every month? Or how about access to live streams? Or just to see what we're working on? For more info, head over to patreon.com/thickthoughts. But don't worry, if you can't pledge, we love you, and the podcast will remain free and amazing every single Thick Thought Thursday. Just by listening and sharing, you are the thickest of thoughts. Again, for more info, it's patreon.com/thickthoughts. And now, back to the episode.
Lovely co-host Ellie.
Hello.
And our magical and charming guest this week, Valen.
Hey everyone.
Welcome, Valen.
Hey.
So thank you for agreeing to talk to us.
I know.
For a while.
Yeah,
I'm
of course.
surprised. I'm surprised every time someone says, "Yeah, I'll do it." Like this.
Yeah, the opportunity to be on a podcast, that's like a dream come true.
I know. Like, I finally shared this week that I shared it on my personal Facebook. I was like, this is not suitable for young listeners or whatever. And I'm like,
oh, yeah.
There could be like real life people who know me who are listening, and it's like half embarrassing, but half like, yeah, I have a podcast, but like it's 2018. Who cares? Anyway.
Yeah. No, I was kind of nervous. I was like, I should probably watch my language, but at the same time, it's really hard for me. So I'm going to try my best.
Cares. You did not have to watch it.
Okay.
Nobody fucking cares.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's good to know.
So, Valen, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and like your journey? We were just talking about how journey is like kind of a corny word, but it's like, what other word is there to use? So tell us about your journey and like whatever.
Yeah, definitely. I tend to get very sidetracked and go off into other stories, so try your best to keep me on track here.
So you'll fit right in.
Yes, perfect.
I'm all over the place. I'm a train wreck, if I'm being completely honest.
You know what I love? A train wreck, so go on.
Oh, definitely. Especially the car accidents that everyone's like, oh, almost hit. Oh, okay, never mind. We can go on with our days. But basically, I had gastric sleeve surgery, and I have been overweight basically my whole entire life. Like, I think the only time I can remember that I was considered normal was probably around the time I was like 3.
Oh, the good old days.
Like, yeah, exactly. I remember standing in the mirror and like, this is like one of my most early memories. I remember standing in the mirror and looking at my body, and I had like little Pocahontas underwear on. And I just remember touching my stomach because I remember my mom talking about how fat she was and how she hopes that I don't get as fat as her or something. And I just remember touching my stomach and like pushing with all my might to see how far I could stick out my stomach. And I was like, yeah, I'll never be that fat.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, I mean, I don't want to say it's fucked up, but like just that, like it kind of shows how early like our perception of like our bodies.
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
shaped.
Definitely. There was like so many times where like I think back on my childhood, like my parents were amazing, but they definitely are the reason as to why I grew up the way, like eating the way I did and the habits I formed and like everything that they taught me. Like I didn't even really learn about nutrition or anything like that until I was trying to get the sleeve. Like I knew that like the basics, like veggies were good, like you should eat your vegetables, but I never knew why things were important. Like, I was like, yeah, like, healthy people eat veggies and granola, but that's not for me. Like, I seriously just lived off of, like, Diet Coke and Mountain Dew, no water, and just, like, tons of, like, fatty, greasy foods because nothing else seemed important. I was like, yeah, I can save that for, like, the health nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the same for me. Like, again, like my parents were great, and the funny thing is, I live on a hobby farm. Like, my parents grow their own vegetables and their own like cows and pigs. Not grow, but like they raise their own cows and butcher them and all this stuff. And like growing up, we always had. It's not like we went out to eat often. It was like a rare thing, but and even at dinners, we would have like meat, veggies, starch, and it was like,
Yeah.
I would say it was a relatively wholesome diet. But my dad also always had a dessert waiting for us when we came home from school, and if we were good all day, we got ice cream before we went to bed. And now as an adult, I feel weird if I don't have ice cream before I go to bed.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I love ice cream, but like that wasn't so healthy. So yeah.
Yeah, no, those bad habits are just built from the beginning. Like, okay, my growing up was a lot different. My parents were not so caring about like my nutrition at all. Like, so to give a little background of like where I come from, my mom and my real mom, she passed away when I was just 7 months old, so I didn't really know her, so it's not too like sad of a thing. But I was adopted by my grandparents, and so when they raised my mom, I call my grandparents my mom and dad, so I'll be referring to them as my mom and dad. But they raised my mom and her brother and sister, who I call my brother and sister. They raised them with like homemade food and stuff like that. But after my mom died, basically everything just like went to shit in my family, and they just like stopped caring about their health. And like my dad turned to alcohol, and my brother and sister turned to like drugs and stuff. But like my mom just stopped cooking, and she just wanted to give me whatever I wanted. Like, we seriously, like, Mondays we'd go out to McDonald's, Tuesdays was like Taco Bell, Wednesday like KFC, like seriously different foods. Like, the only time we would have like food at home was like tater tots, hot dogs, and like pork and beans. Like, it was so bad. And like she tried to make like hamburger helper, and I would refuse to eat that. So she would have my dad go get me whatever I wanted, like Wendy's or something. And then on like Saturdays we'd go out to eat like at a restaurant, and like there was seriously not like any times where I had to eat like healthy, like legit. Like, that is so bad. And then that like went into my like like out of high school when I got on my own and I was living outside of my house. Like, me and my ex-wife just ate just as bad, not like even if worse. Like, in the morning on the way to work, I would get like 2 hash browns, 2 egg McMuffins, a large Diet Coke, and then like on my break I'd go to 7-Eleven and get like taquitos and like a bag of chips. Like, it was so bad. Like, I was spiraling. Just like, oh, it's so bad. And my parents just like let me eat that way. Like, no one cared. Like, I would come home from school when I was little, and I'd grab, like, no joke, this is such a fatty thing, I'd grab a cup and put like shredded cheese into it and go sit on the couch and eat like a cup of shredded cheese.
Oh my God.
No joke.
That's magical.
My friend used to do that, but she would get like a plate. Well, I used to do that too because she taught me how to do it. She would get like this cheese slices and put it on a plate and then like put it in the microwave. So she would just eat melted cheese for a snack.
Yep. Yeah. And there was no one to tell me like, hey, you probably shouldn't do that. Or like on the weekends, I would go upstairs and I'd get like the maple brown sugar oatmeal in the packets, and I would like put 4 in a bowl with some like milk and pop it in the microwave, and then do like, my parents had like that huge toaster that could hold up to like 4 slices. And I put like the 4 slices of toast in there. And keep in mind, I'm in like 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade, and I'm making this all for myself. And then I would just like sit downstairs on the computer and play Sims all night, or like all morning, like just like all the time. No one even watched me or like monitored me and was like, hey, you should probably eat like a vegetable or like go on a walk.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, and I'm not saying this is like an excuse, but I'm sure obviously it was probably a traumatic experience for your parents to go through like the death of their child,
Yeah.
and then like probably, and I'm not saying that as an excuse, but like I'm sure, you know, the radical change of like unexpectedly having to raise someone,
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
and again, I'm not like, obviously, like aside, like even without that, like it's yeah, that's like, I think we all grew up like in this. It's funny how different everyone's upbringing is, and it's like, and we're all fat, so that's weird.
I blame
No, for
the
real.
90s and like that weird fucking purple ketchup. I blame it all on that.
Yes, yes. How they had like purple and green.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they even had the Cheetos that when you would eat them, it would turn green in your
Yes.
mouth.
Oh
Yes.
my.
Yeah,
Yes. Oh my god, no,
I
3D
was like all
Doritos.
about that. Yes, the
Oh,
3D Doritos.
See, like
Wow.
some of the stuff, like I don't even think my parents would buy. Like there
really?
was a time that
Really?
my parents were like, when I was in like high school or even earlier, probably like late elementary school, my mom went on this like, we're never having soda ever again. So like there was
Oh
never soda
gosh.
in our house. And it, like, I'm sure there was still juice and shit, but like somehow I still got fat. Like weird. Oh
Yeah,
man.
it's
So
bad.
yeah. So what would you say like led you to the decision to eventually have weight loss surgery?
So basically, like everybody else's stories, like I would constantly try to diet and eat healthy. Like when I was with my ex-wife, I remember trying, as everyone did, it works. I tried try to do it works, and it does not work. uh, I remember going to meet up with like one of the ladies who sells It Works, and I just like was telling her, I was like, yeah, honestly, the way my life is going, like I'm almost 400 pounds, and I feel like if I don't do a drastic change soon, like I'm gonna end up dead by like my 40s or like mid 30s, like from a heart attack or something. Because I've noticed when people are so like so heavy, they start having panic attacks and thinking that they're dying. And like like I don't know if you guys experience this, but a lot of people I've talked to, like when you're so overweight, you experience moments where you think you're having a heart attack and you like go to the ER or like freak out. Have you guys experienced
Huh.
that before?
I guess I didn't, but hmm.
I
Now I'm
did.
Yeah,
feeling
no,
left
I've
out.
Well, I mean, I have like really bad anxiety, so I had panic attacks all the time. But I knew it was having a panic
yeah.
attack. So,
I would like seriously, there was multiple times where I thought I was like having a heart attack and I would go to the ER and they'd be like, no, you're having anxiety. And then I like started going to the doctor and they're all like, these anxiety attacks are caused because you're so like overweight that you're just like putting yourself under like so much stress and like it was just ridiculous. I had like
mhm.
sleep apnea. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, like stop breathing. I'd freak out. Like there was just so many scary moments that I was just so like, if I keep like gaining weight, I'm just gonna end up dying eventually. So, and I would bring up the whole like weight loss surgery constantly to like my friends, my family, my wife, and at the time, and everyone was just like, you know, if you really put your mind to it, you could do it yourself. And I'd be like, yeah, I guess you're right. Like, I guess I haven't really tried. Like, I kept using that as an excuse not to get surgery that I haven't really tried. But I really
Mhm.
was trying. Like, I was going to the gym, I was eating healthy, I was working my ass off, but I wasn't seeing any results. And I'm the type of person that needs to see results or I'm not going to keep going at it. Like, it's like an all or nothing thing. Like, if I'm going a month of straight of working out and I can't see a difference, like, it just like bothers me. I'm like, well, this is pointless.
Same.
So
Oh yeah.
it was
Same.
just like continuous of that. And then I was just like, I had seen coworkers, family members, different people go through it and just look incredible. And I was like, okay. So what really pushed me was I went to take pictures with family members, and one of my family members came up to me and she was telling me about how she had it done, and she was like at around like 160, 150. I think she got it in her mid 200s, so she wasn't like close to where I was because I was almost like 400. And she was telling me, she's all like, because I was telling her about how I've thought about it before, and she was like, you need to just do it. Fuck what everyone else says. Do it for you. Because once, like, this is such a life-changing experience that once you do it, you're going to be so glad that you actually did it. You need to stop listening to other people and just put your fears on the back burner and do this. So from that time when I like met up with her, because I had already been contemplating it for like years, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. So that's when I started looking into it.
Wow. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's hard because there's so many people who just, I feel like most people look at weight loss surgery as like a failure rather than an option. And
Oh,
so
yeah,
when
for
you
sure.
present it as an option, people are like, no, you don't need that. Because
Yeah.
they perceive it as a failure. Whereas like, it's not a failure. It's just an option.
No,
So
for
it's,
real. There's so many people and so many times where people are like, it's just the easy way out. It's like, if you actually did your research, you would know that this is not the fucking easy way out. It's like the hardest way out almost. Like,
right.
it's seriously such hard work. And a lot of uneducated people just don't get that and on how hard it is. And like, even the people that are considered, and I'm doing air quotes right now, failed, like, they're not exactly failed. Like, they have the opportunity to continue on this because it's not easy. It's not the easy way out.
Yeah. And also, even like, I also agree that it's not the easy way out, but I also want to say, like, even if it is easier, which I mean, I think it's a tool and gives you a tool, and in that way, it's like easier in that way, in my personal opinion. I know not everyone feels this way, but even if it is easier, like, why wouldn't you do the easier thing? Like, it doesn't,
Yeah, why make it harder on
like,
yourself?
why? It's not the struggle Olympics. You don't win something more by struggling more. Like, so even if it is the easier option, like, why do people like it? I don't know.
Yeah,
That's some, and I'm not trying to like go after what you just said because I don't think it's easy, but I think like, even if it is easy or you perceive it as easy, what's wrong with that? So I don't
yeah,
know.
no, exactly. And to touch on that, I think that the first year and where everyone sees the significant weight loss is what's considered easy about it, because like a lot of us, we need, the reason why we get it is because we need to see that like that extreme drop off at first to like see where we need to be and like kind of like push us along the journey. Like the first year, I feel like is what everyone sees as the easy part, because you just are completely losing so much at first. And then it's like after a year, it's when it gets really hard. And then 2 years, like year and a half to 2 years, that's when people start seeing regain and all that stuff. Like, it's hard to like, at first, yeah, it's all fine and dandy, but then you have to like actually push and like stick with the healthy eating habits and working out and stuff like that. Like, people who just like get it and then immediately go back to their like old habits and stuff, those are the people that's where they're seeing like the struggle and like the regain and stuff. Like, it's just, it's hard.
To add to that, like, I remember when I was going to all my doctor's appointments, I forgot which doctor it was that told me, because I was still kind of like, I was gonna do it, but I was still kind of like, you know, I could probably do X, Y, and Z on my own. And then my doctor, I forgot which one it was, he was like, I mean, you can, but the difference is like, it is a little harder for you once you have the surgery, because when you don't have the surgery, you can cheat and you can go back to your same old habits. You have the option to cheat. When you have weight loss surgery, you don't have that option to overeat. You don't have that option to eat certain things. Like, certain things don't react the same way in your stomach.
Yeah.
It's a lot more like, you can cheat in the sense that you can graze all day, which is what he told me, but like, you can't like binge eat a meal. Like, your binge eat is going to be like someone's regular meal, and guess what, you'll probably make yourself sick and throw it up. Like,
exactly.
so he's like, it's a lot more mental if you're going through this, so it's a lot harder, which is what he told me, and kind of put me a little bit at ease, because it isn't the struggle Olympics, but at some point, like, you still have that like that doubt in the back of your head that you're like, oh, this is like the easy shit, because I was part of that crew, I feel, for a little while, where I was like, I don't need that shit. That's for people that are super overweight. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
So.
I was definitely like that too. Like, a lot of times, like when I was younger, I would see people getting it and I'd be like, okay, they just like are taking the easy way out. Like all you have to do is go to the gym and start eating healthier, until I started trying it and I was like, okay, this shit's like really hard because I've been going for like 2 months straight and not seeing any results.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I definitely feel that.
I feel like you expressed one time that you had PCOS before.
Yes. I
Um,
currently have PCOS.
oh,
I don't know if you can get rid of it, can you?
I don't, no.
Yeah, so I have it.
No, because like I remember you talking about it, and you're like, that's probably why it was hard for me to lose weight. And I'm like, it is. It's like 3 times or
Oh,
4
yeah.
times harder to lose weight when you have PCOS than it is when you don't.
Oh yeah, my doctor tried to push like weight loss surgery on me at a young age, like 17, 18. She was all like, like with how like from house, like it seems like your PCOS is very strong. Like I would suggest weight loss surgery, and I'm like, yeah, I've been thinking about it, but I don't know. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was like and she would just like explain to me how hard it is for people that have PCOS to lose weight. And you can always like tell that if somebody, like you go out somewhere and somebody has like a little bit of facial hair that you can see they're like trying to like cover it up or something, and they're like overweight, you're like, oh girl, you got PCOS? Me too. I don't know,
Oh,
maybe that's just me, but I can always point out people.
like
I'm all like,
PCOS solidarity.
Yeah.
Solidarity.
yeah.
No, yeah, because I have it pretty strong too, so like I get it.
Yeah, it sucked. And when I had it, when I was like presenting myself as female, I went to like like even not with like weight, but like with the facial hair. Like I got laser hair removal on my face 7 times. Yeah,
I still haven't done that, and I need to do it. Well, I want to get electrolysis, actually.
it's freaking. I thought that it would take care of it. I went to 7 appointments, and apparently, I mean, I'm rocking almost a beard right now, so like, it doesn't go away. It didn't
Like,
work for me.
so is it? So is it just like your PCOS was like, nah, we're gonna give you a beard, or
Yeah, basically. Like before I even started testosterone or anything, I went to 7 appointments and she was all like, weird. As she was doing it, she's like, weird. Usually people stop growing hair around this time. Like by your 6th or 7th appointment, she's like, but your hairs are just really stubborn. And I'm just like, yeah, it's a PCOS. Like they won't fucking go away.
It's the worst, and you think you get it out, and then it's like another layer comes out. It's
Yeah, for
yeah.
real. But trying to lose
So
weight is ridiculous.
yeah, freaking seriously. Who? It doesn't make half of this shit doesn't make any sense. Like you eat a lot one day and you lose pounds, and then you like eat water and lettuce, and it's like, nah, we're gonna gain 2 pounds or whatever. It's like,
Yep.
fuck me. Um. So you mentioned that you're on like you're taking testosterone and stuff like that. And if you don't want to talk about this, you can tell me to fuck off.
No.
But like how? So I guess my question was like, how did your weight loss journey impact your transition or your or I'm trying to think of the language.
No,
Your
I
confirmation
totally know what you're.
or whatever. Like, because I want to say like confirmation, but I don't know like gender confirmation or is it transition? I'm
Yeah, no,
trying to use the right
definitely
language.
transitioning.
Okay.
No, transitioning for sure. So it sucks because I don't know, like I transitioned at the perfect but worst time. I wanted to do it before I moved to Washington, and I started in April and I moved in August. And so I had from April to August to get top surgery and start my transition. Like it all had to happen so quick. However, I wish that I would have waited in a sense because people that get on testosterone tend to gain weight. That is one of the side effects. One of the main side effects that I wasn't looking forward to is weight gain and balding.
That was one of the things I was gonna ask you, but we'll get to
Yeah,
it.
no. They told me, they're all like, okay, so most people that start testosterone within the first couple of years, you're extremely hungry. You basically go through like a teen boy phase, like where you're just like that, like
Hormones raging.
angst. Yeah, exactly. Angsty, like your sexual, like your sex drive, your eating, like you're just like always hungry. And I'm like, well, shit, I'm already always hungry. Like seriously, I'll eat a couple bites of food and I'm like, oh God, I'm so full. And then like 5 minutes later, I'm like, wow, I'm so hungry. So that's how, like, they told me, they're all like, you need to be careful, like, and just make sure you're always getting like good protein and like vegetables in and whatnot. But like, they weren't joking. Like, I'm hungry, and I know that's like this whole testosterone and stuff has put me at a stall. Like, I've been stalled from 205 to 212, like back and forth. Like, and that's been that way since like April. So I'm like not really moving, but also I haven't been extremely like thriving at the gym. Like, I go every now and then, but I'm not as like prominent as to going as I used to be. So it's kind of like on me at that point. Like, I feel like if I was going every day, I could probably start going down like a pound or two a month. But just like having testosterone on top of the sleeve is definitely tricky. Because if you're not eating healthy at all, you're definitely going to gain. And that's what they told me. They're all like, most guys will gain a lot from like being on testosterone the first couple of years. And I was like, this is the worst timing. I'm like so close to goal.
Right? So,
Yeah.
that's like, oh, well, also, welcome to Stall City. Valen.
Yeah,
This is the
hi.
Big Thoughts podcast. We are all stalled here. So
Which
it's a
apparently
great time.
it's all of our faults that we're on stalls, according to every single fucking person on Instagram. But you know,
Yeah.
who's counting?
No, I try to blame it on the season. I try to blame it on the season. I'm like, well, it's like Christmas time and the holidays and it's cold, so no one wants to get up and go to the gym. But at the same time, I'm like, bruh, you're using excuses right now. Like, get your fucking ass out to the gym. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm
like really motivated right now, so I'm hoping that within the next like month or two I start losing more, because like me and Ashley are like super freaking motivated like this week to just eat super healthy.
yeah,
That's good. And also,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. So also, based on my observation of men versus women, men are able to shed pounds quicker, like once they like you get like motivated and stuff. So maybe that'll be the case for you, and I'll be like, I'll work out, and you'll lose the stall, and then we'll just be left behind and like miserable. I'm really hoping for that for you.
Yeah, definitely.
I was gonna ask you about the testosterone because, like, as someone who has PCOS, the reason why so the doctor said the reason why I couldn't lose the weight was because I had too much testosterone. So that's why I was gonna ask you, like, have you like, well, you kind of already answered it. I'm like, have you like noticed a difference? No, but like, yeah, like usually people with PCOS, if you guys don't know, they develop their own amount of like higher testosterone, which is why they have some like hair growth and like they gain a lot of weight faster. And you would think that you would also have the side effect of losing the weight faster. No.
Right?
So like, did they tell you, like, since you mentioned like, oh, for the first few years you're just gonna be hungry all the time, did they mention like after the first few years you'll start having that drop again, or no?
No, they didn't mention that. They just said that I would be super hungry the first year or so. They're all like, you need to be careful because, like, you basically just start at the beginning of, like, teenage years again. Like, you're going to go through acne, like, extreme amounts of hunger, like, sexual drive. Like, you just basically have to ride it out. Like, you're going to go through the teenage phase for a boy. And I'm just like, ugh. But no, they didn't tell. I'm assuming that it will eventually even out, because they said that like I should stop getting acne after like a year or so, and that my voice should stop dropping after a year or so. So I'm assuming that it's the same for the weight. That's what I'm hoping for anyways, but they didn't actually let me know. But
You want to know what? I'm pretty sure, just like everybody else, when it comes to like they tell you to get bariatric surgery, and then like when it comes to the after questions, like they don't have answers for it because they don't know because they didn't put any research into it. So I'm pretty sure that's probably the
Yeah,
same shit.
yeah, that definitely sounds probably.
um, what was I gonna ask you?
Did you meet your Ashley's your girlfriend, right? Or right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Ashley's
I
my
was like, wait,
girlfriend.
am I thinking did you meet Ashley on Instagram?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, I thought that, but I wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of people have asked. The way that happened was, so I was originally, let's see, I think she started following me in like May or June, and my surgery was June 21st. And I was talking to her just strictly as friends, like the month or two leading up to my surgery, and then um I'm trying to be like super careful of what I say
You
because
I mean,
I no, I just know that my ex-wife will probably listen to this. My ex-wife wasn't the most supportive when it comes to it. She wanted me to be healthier and wanted me to like live a healthier. I think that she wanted me to just do it on my own. But and there was like one point where she told me like she was scared that I would get like too much confidence or too hot for her that I'd end up leaving. But that basically ties into a whole different story. But me
Mm-hmm.
and Ashley just kind of started talking from there, and I was going through a really rough spot with my wife at the time, and we just decided that things weren't working out, so we cut it off. And then Ashley ended up moving back to Utah because things weren't working out with her wife at the time. And then we just started like hanging out, and things just kind of progressed from there. But it all started on Instagram, really. Like we were just like really supportive. Like she was supporting me through getting surgery and like telling me things I should eat, shouldn't eat, like things to be aware of and stuff like that. So she was just like my main go-to at the beginning of like getting surgery. Like we all kind of have like that one person that's like has had surgery that we ask all these questions to, and she was like kind of that for me.
Right.
that is so
Yeah.
precious. Oh my
I
god.
know. She's and you know what? She's very beautiful. So.
Yes, thank you. I agree. She's come a long way. I don't know if you guys have seen her before pictures, but holy cow, she looks like extremely different.
She's a different person altogether.
Yeah, definitely. We both are. I mean, people look at like my pictures before, and not only the fact that I was like presenting as woman before, but like to male now, like just the pictures just look so different. It's so
Yeah,
weird. Like when I look at those, I'm like, I don't even remember being that person.
you guys
Right?
both, I think you posted a photo on Instagram not too long ago, and you both, it's like a couple picture of both of you, and you guys look like completely different people.
Yeah, for
I,
real.
I was like, oh my God.
So true.
It's also funny how oh, I'm looking at oh my gosh, I'm looking at okay. And I'm looking at your Instagram right now and I'm like, holy crap, Ashley looks completely different. And you do too.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, yeah, it's funny how like something that a lot of people say to me, which I find so weird because I'm a lifelong fatty on the inside, if not on the outside before. It's like people are like, um, you don't look like someone who used to be fat or something like that. And part
Really?
of me is like, they're like, you don't look like you used to be fat. And I'm like, well, like part of me is like offended because like I don't know, like being fat
Yeah.
with who like is it's something you identify with, and I don't know, like I know I think they mean it as a compliment, but to me it's like, well, I like my fat self, like I still identify as a fatty just on the inside at
Yeah.
least. But anyways, that was a tangent.
You know, something that I find really, like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I find it kind of rude. But a lot of the times when me and Ashley are telling people that we've had weight loss surgery, and she will show them a before picture, they always say, "Wow, you were so pretty." And I like look at them and I'm like, I like look at her and I'm like, dude, that's so rude. Like, and they're
Yeah.
always like, they don't expect her to be like pretty big or
Right.
something like that, or like that they're saying that she's not pretty now. Like she doesn't get offended, but I get offended over that. I'm like, what are you saying?
I know
What does that
that,
mean?
right?
Mhm.
Or like something that I see a lot is I'm public, very, very public with my weight loss surgery. Like I post about it on Facebook and stuff, like not obnoxiously, but and
Yeah.
people will comment on the transformation pictures and they'll say, "You've always been so beautiful inside and out." And I'm like,
Yes.
bitch, I know. Bitch, I know. I've always been beautiful. I've been a sexy piece, okay? But like people are like, people assume that you must have like hated yourself before, and it just grinds
no,
my
for real.
gears.
Yeah.
Same. They're all like, wow, you were so beautiful then and beautiful now. You're all like, yeah, I know.
And
Yeah.
it's also kind of like, it's kind to me when I hear that, like, you were so beautiful, that I'm like, what do you like? It's kind of like a backhanded compliment in a sense, to me at least.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you trying to say?
No,
Now you
definitely.
look like a ghost, Ellie. Stop losing weight. And it's and that's the other thing. Like you can never, like I'm now at a place where I've lost a significant amount of weight, and people are, like my mom especially, and I know she's meaning it from coming from a good place, because I bitched to her about being at a stall. She's like, you don't need to lose any more weight, Sarah. And it's like, or like you look good, like you're skinny, and it's like, okay, well, like I was fucking fat, and where were you then? Like I don't know. It's like
Mhm.
No.
it's like nothing is, even if you're fat or skinny, and I am by no means like really skinny, but like the world always has something to say, no
Mhm.
matter where you are.
Yeah,
Ugh.
no, Ashley's mom, like her, like, I don't know if she's her stepmom. She always, like, every time we go over there or anytime she sees Ashley, she's all like, you're too skinny. You need to stop losing weight. You look sick. Those are the worst comments that you can make to somebody who has, like, obviously, like, body dysmorphia and, like, all that stuff. Like, you just need, like, anyone who listens to this right now, if you're telling somebody that they look too sick or they look too skinny or too fat or anything, like, stop.
Mhm.
You are not them, so you need to stop saying that. That's rude. I cannot stand when I hear people say that. Like, there are some people that in the weight loss community that are very, very skinny, and it's because, like, they can't obtain like their nutrition, like the nutrition and all that stuff, like, and there's a reason why they're so skinny, or they have like some sort of mental thing where they're not eating as much as they should. I don't know,
Mhm.
like, it's not our business. It's really
Right.
not. Like, what's going on in somebody's life and the reason why they're stalling or so big or regain or too thin, like, it's nobody's business. It
Right.
really isn't.
Ugh.
And I hate when I see people on Instagram or like their family members bashing on them for where they're at. It's like, mind your own. What? Like, why is that any of
Preach,
your
Valen.
concern?
Preach.
That is seriously one of my biggest like pet peeves ever, is like, I cannot stand when family members go and tell, like, that's one of the things that happened when I went and met, like when we were taking family photos and my cousin was telling me about her weight loss surgery and stuff like that. Like, there was like a handful of family members that had told her that she was looking sickly, and then on the car ride home my mom was all like, yeah, she's looking like she's lost too much weight. And I'm like, what? Why is this any of your business or your concern? Like, leave her alone. What?
Mhm.
Like,
They
that's so annoying.
To me, I think it's like, they're not coming from a malicious place, but it's like they feel like
Yeah.
they have all the confidence in the world to be able to say whatever because they are whoever in your life, you know? Like,
Yeah.
And yeah, also like I think people get so used to seeing you and loving you as like a fat person.
Yep.
Like my
Mhm.
That
family,
too.
like they've always known me as a fat person. So like I think it's worth giving people grace and like helping them to like learn and love you as like in a smaller body. But like you said, Valen, like even as a fat person, like I have like friends who are really, really thin, who like say, well, I have always gotten comments from people who are like, God, eat a cheeseburger. And these are people who've always been thin. And the thing is, like, you don't know, like, there are thin people who are actively trying to gain weight because they don't
Exactly.
like being thin.
Mhm.
And there are also thin people who are skinny because they have no appetite because they're going through chemotherapy, or they're thin because they have a metabolic disease that is like their metabolism is so fast that they can't take enough calories, or they're just naturally thin. Like, stop commenting on people's appetite, on people's bodies, on people's diet. Like, mind your fucking business, as Valen said. Oh my God.
Yeah, no, for real. I've had to live that firsthand. My mom, as I said, like she's been talking about her weight, like my grandma mom, obviously. She's been talking about her weight since I was like little. And she's obese. Like she goes from like 220, 230, and my dad, who's also my grandpa, he is about 110 pounds soaking wet, or on a good day. Like he sometimes goes under 100 pounds, and he looks like a walking skeleton. But when we go out to dinner, he'll get a whole appetizer to himself, a whole full course meal, and then dessert. Like he's constantly eating. But there's been times where we've gone to family events and my mom will be eating and she watches her weight. She eats healthy and like walks up and down the stairs like 50 times a day to try to lose weight. And there's been times where I've heard drunken family members be all like, wow, save some of that food for your husband. And I'm just like, are you freaking real? Like, what? Like, there's been like times where I've almost thrown down with family members because they'll make like weird comments like that, and like her plate's not even like full or anything, and I'm like, you have no idea what she goes through, and you have no idea how much he eats. Like he's constantly snacking like chips, like soda, just like trying his hardest to gain weight, and he looks like, without a shirt on, like he looks like a skeleton. It's so weird. But like also, no one sees the behind the scenes struggle.
Even if her plate is full, like, it's no one, unless you're her doctor or dietitian, like, keep your eyes on your own plate. Like, mind your fucking business. Oh,
I think we said, real. I think we discussed this during the Michelle episode, and like, her line was like pretty fucking spot on, which is like, if it's the first thing that comes to your head when you see somebody, don't fucking say it, because they've probably heard it from like 80 other people.
Yep.
Like, I think that's like the most accurate thing. Like, oh, he's so tall, or oh, you're too fat, or oh, you're too skinny. It's like the first thing that comes to your head. It's like, don't say it. Like, think of something else. Process it a little bit more. So like,
I've straight up had a friend that I was friends for about 3 months, and we were eating lunch one time, and he was like, you know what? And I was like, what? He's like, I'm shocked. You were literally the first person to ever not ask me my height or like talk about my height. Because he was like, I think he was like 6'7" or something like that. Like, he was extremely tall. He's like, you're the first person to never ask me how tall I am, or like mention my height, or ask me to get a picture standing next to someone. He's like, that's awesome. He's like, I've never had somebody not bring up my height or like ask me questions about it. He's like, it's weird. He's like, and I just realized it like a few weeks ago that you're the first person ever. And I'm like, I just looked at him and I was like, well, you already know that you're fucking tall. I was all like, and I assume you get that on the daily, so why would I need to bring it up to you?
Right.
Yeah.
It's just so bizarre. Like, if you're of average height, it's not like someone comes up to you and it's like, oh, you're of average height, aren't you? How's the weather at average height?
For real.
Speaking about how people interact with you, have you experienced, like, maybe from friends or people that are very close to you that have kind of changed the way that they treat you now as opposed to before your weight loss?
No one close to me. It seems as if more people that like could give a fuck less about me all of a sudden like are all like, oh, hey, Valen. Like, it's like, nah, bitch. But no one very close to me has treated me, from what I've noticed, very different.
Yeah. And it sounds like you've been in long-term relationships, like, during your like your weight loss. Have you noticed like a change in like attention that you get from like romantic interests? Or not romantic interests, but like people who find you attractive?
Yeah, so going through it, Ashley basically has loved me the exact same, like from the beginning to now. Like, it's been a consistency of like attraction. Like, she was just attracted to me as like right like a month or so out of surgery till where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
As far as everyone else goes, I have definitely noticed an increase of random people on the internet.
Oh my god.
I which is weird because I've noticed like a very older crowd being interested in me. As
What?
opposed to like people my age. Like I have like if basically if you look at my comments on my photos, like it's like always women between their 30s and 50s, and kind of like mainly in between that, like 40s and stuff like that. Like, but no one ever really around like my age. I'm 25, but I've noticed a lot of older women will just tell me how hot I am, and like will slide into the DMs here and there and just be
Damn.
like, wow, you're so hot, this and that. And I'm all like, it's
You could get a
nice,
sugar
but
mama.
right? I know. Ashley would be super down for that. Just kidding.
I always think like, damn, if I could get a sugar daddy who like got off on like being ignored,
Right?
perfect. Like, pay me to ignore you, please.
Yeah, for real. Sounds like the dream.
I know.
But yeah, there's definitely been an increase. It was weird because like I know, like I've listened to a lot of different people say that like no one was interested in them before and stuff like that, but I never really had that issue. Like everyone that I ever dated, everyone, like my friends, my best friends, random people at bars would always be shocked on the people I was dating because they were always like under 165 pounds, like 170 at most, and like just super like beautiful people.
Mm-hmm.
And I just always was lucky enough to find the people that were interested in me as a person.
So you're
And
basically slaying the game.
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, at a young age, I learned to slay the fucking game. Just kidding.
Would you
No,
say that?
Give me some
would you say
tips.
that you had- oh, you're right.
right?
Would you say that you had like a lot of confidence at your highest weight?
Yeah, weirdly, I've been thinking about that a lot lately, and I used to like I don't think that I was as self-conscious then as I am now. If I'm being honest, like back then, like yeah, I knew I was fat, and but everyone, like all my friends, my wife at the time, like everyone would tell me that I was like I wasn't that fat. Like the quote unquote, I wasn't that fat. Like they would always be like, dude, you're really not that fat. But in reality, I couldn't fit on like amusement park rides, on an airplane, like there were
Mm-hmm.
like barely could fit in my seat at work, like the armrest parts, like my fat would just like tumble over. Like I was legit almost 400 pounds, but everyone would continuously tell me, you're not that fat. That's
Yeah.
like the worst. But
I think that
when
that's
it
just
comes,
them trying not to be assholes.
yeah, definitely.
Because imagine if they were like, "Yeah,
But
you are that fat." Can you imagine? Like, you would fucking flip a shit on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
yeah.
actually, you are fat as fuck.
Yeah.
No, for real. But yeah, I really never had too hard of a problem like dating or like finding anyone. Like I would find like pretty attractive women to date, and then I would go out to places and like drunken guys at bars would like hit on them, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm actually with her," and they'd point to me and they'd be like, "What the fuck?" Like I was just like, I don't know, like I think it's my personality maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I also wonder, I think like people's attraction towards others, like it has a lot to do with being attracted to someone's like or not personality, or yeah, personality, but also just their confidence. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think someone who's confident, like if an ugly person, not an ugly, but like someone who's less conventionally attractive is like confident as fuck, whereas like there's some hot person who's like not very confident, like I would rather go for the person who's confident, you know? Like,
Yeah,
and I wonder if
definitely.
that it has something to do with, I mean, obviously you're just playing the game regardless. So, but if you're, I'm
Oh,
just like,
thanks.
if you were confident is great and like, you know, bagging these hot chicks, you know, that would,
Yeah.
I mean, that, not that we need to make sense of you bagging hot chicks and stuff. I don't know.
Oh my God. No, no, no. It's weird because a lot of the times I talk and act like I'm very confident, but it's weird. Since weight loss, like I've told Ashley multiple times that like I just like, without her, I don't think that I would date for a while because I'm just not confident enough. Like, as I used to be, like, I don't know, when I was almost 400 pounds, like, I wasn't very confident. Like, I felt fat and I felt ugly, but at the same time, like, I was confident enough that I could, like, find other people, I guess. I don't know. But, like, with her, I'm just like, I want to be in this because I don't ever, like, obviously I love her, but also, like, I don't feel confident in myself anymore to, like, out of surgery and stuff. Like, I don't know.
Could it
Maybe it's like I notice a lot of people out of surgery gain a lot of confidence and get like really cocky. Like, I love posting my before and after pictures just solely because it like shows me that I'm not where I once was and it gives me motivation. But a lot of the times people like my friends or Ashley or like family will mistake it as like I'm coming off cocky and that I want the attention, but it's really not that. Like, I'm not like that anymore. Like, I don't have that type of confidence that I used to.
right?
Yeah. Also, I don't think there's anything wrong with sharing before and after pictures if you want. Like, why we're all on Instagram for attention. So, like, if we want attention, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And also,
Yeah.
I think, like, some part of, like, losing some confidence, like, I know for me, I think it's made me reevaluate my identity as a person. I've talked about like always being a fat person on the inside, but like you have to think like for most of us, we've always been fat. Like we're the fat friend, we're the fat family member, and then we're suddenly not that anymore, and you have to like where does that put you? And I know that has affected my confidence since losing weight.
Same.
Definitely.
Like
Were you gonna say something, Ellie?
Like we knew our places back when we were fat. Like we were the fat, like as you said, we had our place, and now we kind of are like just kind of in limbo trying to navigate this whole new area that we've never fucking been in,
Exactly.
And I mean we've discussed that I think before, but it holds true every fucking day because we're still trying to navigate this new area of like society where we weren't part of before.
No, that's so true. Have you guys ever seen the movie called Duff? Designated Ugly Fat Friend?
Which she wasn't at all in the movie, yes.
Yeah, no, exactly. But I seriously was that all the time, like through high school, like even into my workplace. Like a lot of the times people would just like start talking to me and like be like act like they were interested in me just to get to a friend. And I'd be all like, for real? Like, and then all of a sudden once they got with my friend, like I was just cut off and like they didn't even talk to me anymore. I'd be like, okay, cool. I see you.
Yeah. I've had that happen. Pretty much all of the dudes that I've ever liked have always talked to me to get with my friends. I've always been that that stepping stone even.
Oh my God. This reminds me of in college. I think I'm a little bit older than Ellie, but I'm 30. So when
You're
I was
a year,
in college,
girl.
it was
a year older. Calm down.
I'm ancient, okay? But in college, it was the height of the chat roulette, like peak. Like everyone was going on chat roulette. Do you guys? If you're not familiar with chat roulette, if you're a young grasshopper, it was basically like you would. It's like video recording, and you would randomly match with people who are also on it.
It's Omegle now, I think.
Oh yeah. So So basically, my friends and I would go on it. Like we would all get done with our work. We would get done with work at like 11 o'clock at night, and then we would all go on chat roulette. And I had this like hot friend, who had like big boobs and stuff. And so we would like match with these like hot guys and like get them all worked up and stuff. And then they would like be like, show us your tits. And then she would like pretend to like lift up her shirt, and then we'd like next them. So it just reminds me of that, because when we were all in the video together, it was like everyone was next to us. And then it was like, okay, let's just put the hot people in, AKA not Sarah.
Oh,
that
it's okay.
I relate to that so hard because I think that's happened to me too. So it's fun.
But yeah, it was fun. It was fun, like getting these guys all worked up and then like nexting them. But yeah. Also, we met this like old guy who was like chat rouletting from his like fancy house. Yeah, we called him the Gray Fox, and we talked about him. It's been like a long time, but we still remember him. Anyways, that was a long tangent, but yeah, I'm the fat friend. Do you have any?
Go ahead.
Oh, do you have any advice for yourself? If you could give yourself advice when you first started your journey?
Yeah. As I've told everyone that's ever messaged me, don't put it off. Anything that benefits your life in any way, whether it be a surgery, a new job, leaving your shitty boyfriend or girlfriend, do it. Anything that's anything that scares you is worth jumping at. Don't let your fears hold you back, because getting surgery was like such a fear of mine. I had a fear of going under anesthesia and like not waking up or something going wrong. But like, I think like on the last episode with Wally, you guys were talking about how what was it exactly that you said about how like you have more of a chance of dropping dead as an obese person than you are of like
Of dying in
dropping
surgery.
dead from the yeah, exactly. And that's so true. Like my surgeon was like, I was telling him about how scared I was, and he was like, you have no reason to be scared. The chance of you getting out of this office and driving home and getting in a car accident and dying is greater than you dying during surgery. He's like, I perform surgeries every day. He's like, you're fine. And that's so true. Like, and that's like a lot of people's fear, or the fear of failing. But you should rather want to at least try it and fail than end up like just living the life that you are. Like, you can either keep continuing living this like life and like wondering what if, or thinking about how bad you want to, but your family, your friends, this and that's holding you back. Like, stop worrying about the things that are holding you back. You need to do what makes you happy and what's going to better your life, because I wasted too much time thinking about the what ifs and like contemplating on, do I want it bad enough, this and that. Like, ever since I got weight loss surgery, I've been jumping at like opportunities, like with like testosterone, like transitioning, getting top surgery. Like, everybody's like, wow, you're doing all this stuff so fast. I'm like, I don't want to waste any more time. I don't have time to keep wasting. I just left a job that paid like $18 an hour for this job that I'm doing right now that only pays like 11, because the $11 job makes me happier than my 18 an hour job. Like, I'd rather be poor and happy, like struggling and happy, than like have to like slave away and hate my life and get up every morning and think about how I rather freaking just like off myself and keep going to this job. Like, you need to focus on what makes you happy and just like shoot for that. Even if there's that fear of failing, you need to keep going. You need to keep pushing. And that is my speech. Thank you. I'm bowing out now.
Oh my God.
Well, here's your Oscar.
Thank you.
I feel so fucking motivated right now. God damn.
I know. Like,
we're all gonna chug a glass of water.
Oh.
Cheers to our water.
Cheers.
Well, Valen, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
You're amazing.
You're thebomb.com. We appreciate you taking your time and talking to us. You are the thickest of thoughts in our hearts always.
Hell yeah.
And
thank you guys for giving me the opportunity. I've loved every minute of it.
Oh.
And honestly, I think I messaged you when I asked you if you wanted to be on here. I was like, don't forget that you're like one of the most important people on in our fucking community, so that you know that.
What? No. Honestly, when you guys asked me, I was like, okay, how the fuck am I gonna follow up compared to Wally? That's like somebody, like, he is so beloved that I was all like, okay, this is like having somebody give like an amazing speech and then me going up and being all like, so yeah, weight loss is cool.
Do you know how amazing you are, by the way? Like, everybody loves you. Everybody's rooting for you. Like, you really are one of like the pinnacle, like, important people in the community. Just letting you know that.
Thank you, thank you.
Wow, don't fluff up his ego too much, Ellie, okay?
Okay,
I know.
well, sorry.
I'm like, that's a lot of pressure if I'm being honest.
Okay, Valen, you're great, but like, I'm just trying to keep you humble, okay?
You're
Thank
great, but
you,
like
thank
whatever.
you. Yeah, I mean, thank
No,
you
but
guys.
seriously, thank you so much for coming on Thick Thoughts. We appreciate you so much.
Yeah, of course.
What do we have to tell the people? Think if you are interested in following us, we have an Instagram called Thick Thoughts. We also are on YouTube. And what are the other things? Oh, make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. That kind of helps us a lot.
On the iTunes app, especially.
Yes, iTunes app especially. That was not weird. iTunes app, rate and review. What am I on? Ellie, I'm bad at this part. I should write it out.
We're on Spotify. We're on SoundCloud. Follow us on pretty much every social media. We'll have it all linked down below. We have a Patreon now, which is patreon.com/thickthoughts, and you get an extra episode every month if you subscribe to us. And there's a bunch of other really cool things that are also there. So check that out. If you want to tip us a little bit, you want to give us some coffee so we can be caffeinated to continue on the podcast, the links for the coffee will be down below. And I think that's it. I think that covers our bases.
And again, we're not, just to clarify, it's not like we're like rolling in dough from this podcast at all. We're just doing things like buying microphones, buying a website.
Paying for the editing software every month.
Yeah, So we are not bankrolling at all. So if you want to support us and you can't monetarily, rating and reviewing and sharing helps us a titload, a bunch.
And it makes you a thick thought.
Yes.
All right. So
again, thank you so much again, Valen. You just had to sit through that awkward thing. Thank you so much. Tell Ashley she's a sexy bitch. And she's lucky to have you, which you probably already know.
Thank you guys so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
All right.
bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.